Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Not only is it 100% free, but it has a variety of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast to other sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others for you. And Anchor even allows you to make money from your podcast without a required minimum listenership. So whether you've been in the podcasting game for a long time or you're completely new to it, Anchor is so user-friendly that it's basically your one-stop shop for making a podcast. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
You're listening to First Paso. Because sometimes you simply need someone to help you take that first paso.
Hello and welcome to First Paso, a show where we learn together how to take that first paso toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. My name is Candice Olushola, and today's special guest is a friend of mine from undergrad. He was a few years behind me, but we, crossed paths on campus, and we've actually, after campus, we've gone our separate ways, and we've somehow ended up back in the same sector as far as programs are concerned. So we're both MPH students. Well, I'm an MPH student. He's a DRPH student at George Washington University. So it's kind of cool how we've come back to full circle together in the sector of public health. And he has so many great things to share with you guys today. And so without further ado, I want to welcome you guys to my friend Michael Forde. How are you doing, man? It's been a long time.
It has, but as you said, it's funny how we came together again. We crossed paths once, and we crossed paths again. So, there could be a sign in there,
right?
But, I'm so glad that you're a good friend in my life, and I'm really excited. Thank you so much for even inviting me to be on your show. So
absolutely. How's it been for you during COVID this year and all of that? Has that been crazy?
It started off very crazy because around March, I get this message that we're going to be teleworking. I'm going to be teleworking at home, from home rather, and I'm a very social person.
Right.
So for the first month, it was really difficult I didn't know how to be alone. I didn't
right.
I've always been around people. So for the first month, it was so hard.
Oh.
So difficult. But now I've adjusted and, I am enjoying my quarantining. So
Good.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. I know that was a challenge for me too. Just
Mm-hmm.
I live by myself, so it's not the being
Right.
by myself that's different. It's the how I'm by myself that felt different.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
I was, we're told to just stay home, and I'm used to, either I'm going to a class or I'm going to work or I'm helping out with church. And so I'm constantly still getting to see people somewhere in my day to day, but then not seeing them or seeing them from a distance. I was like, oh, this is really weird. I don't know how to do this. This is very awkward. But yeah, the adjusting to all of that has been a venture, and I think I'm kind of back into okay, this is not that bad. This is good. As long as everyone's safe and healthy, I'm fine doing whatever I need to do. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. So that's how I feel as well.
Good.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? Just a little synopsis on Michael Forde.
So my name is Michael Forde. Nowadays, I go by the name Michael H. Forde, and I am a public health specialist professional. I work at the National Institutes of Health, specifically the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Fun fact, there are actually 27 different institutes within the National Institutes of Health. Dr. Anthony Fauci leads the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. That institute I work at focuses on viruses, viral diseases, bacterial diseases, allergic diseases, infectious diseases, the whole 9 yards. My job is I am a health communication specialist, so I have to relay the information to the general public in a way that they would understand, but also scientists and other healthcare professionals. I wrote a book called Success Begins From Where You Are. It's all about how to really just take the first step forward on your journey of success. And success means different things to different people. So the book really helps people understand what that might mean to them and get started on their journey. And that's a little bit about Michael Forde.
Nice, nice. That's really good. So you already talked about kind of having an idea and, taking your first step to being successful, which is kind of what this podcast kind of talks about. And it can be literally in any area of life, right? It's like we have to take a first step somewhere to get our momentum going. And so, can you explain a first paso or a first step for you that, was significant for you and how you learned whatever it is that it was and how you've grown in that process, or if you're even still in the process of figuring that out?
Yeah. So I guess my first paso or first step for just me understanding what my definition of success was
Mm.
really came to me in graduate school when I was doing my master's of public health degree. So you see, up to that point, I had always known that I wanted to be somebody, that helps, not only spread positivity, but be a leader in the field of my choice.
Right.
Because I always feel like if you're going to do something, you want to be able to do the best at that thing and be the best and climb to the top. Not necessarily to like push others down or whatever, but just to, your potential is limitless. That's always been something that I believed in. But I had a hard time understanding what my purpose was.
Mm.
And I think for me, my first paso really revolved around figuring out my purpose because once I figured out my purpose, I felt like success would come to me more naturally.
Wow.
And so I had to really sit down in grad school and say, hey, I'm almost done with my master's degree in public health, but what is success to me and what is my purpose to me?
Mm.
And I would hear people tell me, there are different trains of thought when it comes to passion and purpose and success. Some people say that if you find your passion, you find your purpose. Others say that passion is different from purpose. And I tend to say the same thing, that passion and purpose are really two different things because you can be passionate about something but not purposeful.
Mm.
So for me, for instance, I'm very passionate about music. I love music. I play the piano. I love, talking to people. That's something I'm passionate about. Helping people. That's something I'm passionate about. But your purpose is different because the passion is something that you love to do. The purpose is waking up with the fire to love to do that thing. It's a bit different. Purpose is when you wake up every morning, you're on fire. You get out of bed. You don't want to sleep because there's something that is burning in your heart for you to do.
Mm.
And sometimes your passion can equal your purpose, but it's not always necessary. And so for me, I had to figure out deep down inside what was that one thing that I was purposeful about. And then I came to realize that it was just leaving the most positive impact on society as possible.
Mm.
And once I found my purpose, the success came through that. And now, even in public health, I live my purpose daily through my career. And I live it also daily through the positivity I try to, place into the world with different individuals in my interactions. So I think my first paso happened in, grad school. And once I figured things out, man, it just, life became so much more beautiful for me, for sure.
Wow.
Mhm.
So I know, you were saying about you had to sit down and really think about what your purpose is. And I've actually had friends ask me, like, how do you know what your purpose is? Like, how did that, what did that process look like in discovering what your purpose was? So can you elaborate a little bit more on what that looks like for you, seeking that purpose and differentiating it from your passion? Or like,
Mhm.
did you
Yeah.
talk to certain people? Were you writing things down? And
Mm-hmm.
assessing your list of, what you're good at, what you're
Yeah.
not, and like what did that look like?
I actually just talked to a friend about this last night. Uh, so the first thing that you have to really think about when figuring what your purpose is you have to ask yourself like different questions. And one of the questions you can ask is, does this thing, no, before we even get there, what is it that makes me want to get out of bed in the morning? It's a simple question, but like, what is it? Why, why do you want to be someone who gets the most out of life? Like, what is it about life that makes you want to live? I mean, it sounds complex or perplexed in some senses because, like, what kind of question is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what makes you want to live? What makes you want to breathe the oxygen every morning? What makes you want to just do the be the best person and do the best? And you have to really think about it, and that might be listing the things that you're good at. It might be listing the things that you're interested in being good at. It might be listing the things that you thought about doing but maybe never did because you had fear or other barriers blocking you doing that thing. Some people, when it comes to purpose, I feel like they've toyed around with certain ideas, but they've never really accepted them head on because they were not sure.
Mm.
Others may have been sure, but they were just, for whatever reason, not ready to take that step, right? So
Right.
for me, going back to my purpose, I said I wanted to leave the most positive impact on society as possible. That's something that I, in a sense, have always been doing because I've always been someone who's positive. I've always been someone who's very sociable. I've always been someone who wants to do good. But just because I was doing those things doesn't mean I had made them my purpose yet.
Mm.
So just because I was doing those things didn't mean I had intentionally decided, hey, this is my motto. This is my MO. This is what I'm going to make my life all about. That's your purpose. Your passion, I tell people sometimes passions can come and go.
Right.
You can be passionate about something one day and the next day the passion has gone,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Your purpose is almost like, if you want to define it, a passion can come and go, but your purpose is your everyday passion that's renewed
Wow.
daily,
Yeah.
daily,
Yeah.
daily. Every morning when I wake up, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make sure that today, before I go to bed, I've done something that has positively impacted society, and I want to leave my footprint so that long time from now, when I'm gone from this world, there's something that people can take and use it to, in their generation, pass it on and help the world be a better place. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I I love reading Steve Harvey's books and listening to some of his motivational talks, and I know he talks about, I think in his book Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success, he talks about purpose
Mm-hmm.
and how purpose transcends every area of your life. A lot of people confuse purpose with like their career. Like, what am I supposed to do for my life's work? But he, kind of like what you described, he describes purpose as something that should be passed on through, it's a foundation to allow your career, your family, your relationships, your side hustle, whatever it is, like that, it's like a foundational baseboard for you to stand on, that just goes through it permeates through every area of your life, and it's like the fuel that allows the fire to keep burning in those areas. But your job doesn't necessarily, usually doesn't equal your purpose. It's just
Right.
it's like a tunnel through which your purpose can be driven through, but it's not your
Yes.
purpose. And so I think when my people that I've spoken to who are like, "How do you know your purpose?" I think they're asking me, "How did you know you wanted to be a pharmacist?" I'm like, "Well, me being a pharmacist was, a calling that I realized I had, but it wasn't my purpose. It's only so far been used as a means to tunnel my purpose through, but I've been able to tunnel my purpose through other things as well."
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like that's a really good point. I mean, your purpose, as you said, it's a way of being able to have access to channel it to different things in life, whether it be career, hobbies, outreach to community, right? You can channel your purpose into different things, but I definitely understand what you're saying, because I've had these conversations with people too. It's like, how did you know your purpose? And then they would relate it to what I'm doing today. What I'm doing today is as a result of me allowing my purpose to be channeled
Mm.
into these areas of life.
Yeah.
Now, as I said, I didn't always have that. So there was a time where when I was doing good, but it was more so because I didn't want to be in a place of stagnancy in
Mm.
life. So I was always trying to move forward.
Right.
But I had the principle but not the purpose. Once I got the
Ooh.
purpose, like things it's like you're living life with intention rather than, just happen chance,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
uh,
then what was that moment where you realized, oh my stars, this is my purpose? I understand it. Like what was that moment for you where you kind of were like, oh, this is my purpose? Or did it kind of evolve and then you realized you had been doing your purpose?
I think everyone has that eureka moment where they realize this is my purpose. I do think getting there is harder. I always tell people it's harder, always harder in the beginning with anything. With school, it's always harder trying to get the ball rolling. With your new job, of course, it's going to be harder to learn some things you've never done before, or things that you may not have been exposed to in a while.
Right.
Um, so it's always hard in the beginning. So in grad school, I did realize that, hey, leaving the most positive impact is something that I believe is my purpose. But even here's the thing I didn't tell you. Even in grad school, when I come to that eureka moment, I didn't actually have everything fully click until I think when I started one of my first jobs in public health, and I was able to put my book out, and I was also able to use social media to establish face of positivity, and the collaboration or the connection between, you know, using social media for positivity, working in public health and working in the community, and putting my book out there for people to really understand, success. I think those things kind of culminated to, this is definitely it. So it was more like grad school was the, here, I'm presenting to you your purpose, and it's up to you to really accept it. And I think I fully accepted it until maybe a year later. So I
Oh
had been
wow.
toying with the idea, and I'm like, yeah, I think this is my purpose. I found my purpose, but I think I fully like manifested it pretty much a year or so later. And then after that, I always tell people like my purpose is to leave the most positive impact. Like I feel like if you have something or the ability to do something, just do it, or if you have something, give it, because the your the world's already a messed up place. So any value that you can add, any goodness that you can add, it's not only doing good for the world, hopefully, but also it teaches you the beauty of giving.
Mm. Yeah.
And I think that for me it's something really important. And not only does it make me feel good, but it makes me want to give more, because there's someone out there. I always think about it like this: there's someone out there that has never ever possibly heard of the words that you're going to tell them when it
Wow.
comes to purpose,
Wow.
or the pasos.
Yeah.
There's people who want to listen to advice and have guidance, but no one has ever talked to them in the way that you're going to talk to them.
Wow.
So why hold it in?
Right.
You know?
Wow. That's a good point. I've never thought of that, but it is so accurate. Purpose, I truly believe purpose has to be outward driven. Like purpose is not just for you. If purpose is just for you, I don't think it's your purpose. It might
Mm,
be, it could possibly be something you're passionate about just doing in general, but your purpose has a ripple effect that goes beyond you. It goes past you even being here. Like it's going to affect someone else, so a chain reaction can go somewhere else. And so if you're looking at like, oh, what is my purpose? I don't know, and you're focused on how it benefits you, I don't think you're gonna find it, because there's your purpose is not just a channel for you to do everything you do, but it's the channel in which it gets from you point A to point B, whoever and whatever that is outside of you. It has to go somewhere that can be passed on to someone else. So like what you said, if you're the person that people need to hear this information from, or they've never been told this thing in this way, or it hasn't been shown to them in this way, then you are, whether you realize it or not, you are passing on something, you're transferring something from you to someone else. And therefore they now have a tool or some information, something that will help them either discover their purpose or elevate their purpose to a new level. Right? And so, I'm as you're talking, I'm thinking about my purpose, and I've finally figured out like a phrase or something to explain it, but I think it's to advocate and empower is my purpose. And so it's like with there's things that I know they will only come from me a certain way. They won't come from anyone else in the way that it will come from me. And someone needs to hear it, or someone needs to experience how I do something or how I say something for it to help them. And it might not be for everyone, right? But it might be for specific people, specific projects, whatever that may be. And in passing on, at being an advocate and empowering people in whatever it is that they need an advocate for or empowerment in, they too then get to propel in whatever life has for them to do, because I went ahead and executed my purpose. But it wasn't until I understood what my purpose was that I could wake up every day with the intentionality that is actually what the foundation of my day should be.
Right. So that's pretty much, I agree. I can agree with you even more. I actually never really thought about it like that, but I can see it where your purpose would not want to be, it would not just be something that's for you. That's more of a passion, right?
Right.
Your purpose is in life, your existence. What is the meaning, and what are you going to do with it?
Right.
If you were doing something for yourself, even if there is purpose behind it, that purpose might lose momentum, and that's why I say it could definitely be a passion. Purpose loses no momentum.
Wow.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Purpose loses no momentum, because purpose is the definition of, this is why I'm here.
Right.
This is why I exist.
Right.
If you lose that, you lose the answer to why you exist. So that's why I would argue with someone that your purpose is the reason behind your existence and the fulfillment of your existence.
Right. Yeah.
And so
that's, I like that. I like the understanding that passion can easily be inward, where purpose, it's not possible to be. It's not possible to have an inward purpose. Purpose eventually has to come out. It has to leave you. Someone can have a purpose for you, like, but again, they're having to do something outward for you to be given something. So I love that concept of it being out of you.
And to highlight what you said once more, I just want to. There's something that I read once online, and it basically said that passion and purpose are very distinct. Passion, as you said, it's the emotion, the motivation, the feeling behind what makes you feel good.
Right.
Purpose is the reason that is the why behind what we do.
Yes.
And it's primarily for others, what we contribute, how we contribute. So passions come and go, to summarize, but purpose tends to be long term.
Yeah.
And everything you said is very, head on when it comes to understanding that passion is internal, purpose external, it's an outward thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's a pay it forward. It's a pay it forward. Whether you realize it or not, purpose is paying it forward into the world for whoever your purpose is meant for.
right.
And in discovering your purpose, which is a different journey for everyone. So if anyone's listening to this and they're like, well, that sounds so easy, that has not been easy for me figuring out my purpose, have patience. It's for some people it takes a while, and it takes really discovering yourself. If you have a hard time even understanding you, it's very difficult to understand what your purpose is. You have to be acquainted with you. You have to spend time with you. You have to, sometimes I know, I remember I was actually talking to a friend about this morning, but I remember a season where I had a difficult time being alone because of this sense of loneliness. And it wasn't until I forced myself to spend time in my discomfort with being by myself that I really got to know me. That I really started to discover me, which helped me better understand what my purpose was. And so that the discovery of self, what makes you tick? Why do you tick this way? Where did that come from? Like all those questions that you would ask yourself, and trying to, put pieces together and going like, so how does all of that encompasses who I am take me into a realm of purpose? Like, well, so what does all of that mean? And I found it easier to recognize my purpose once I was acquainted with Candace, And so, people who are really struggling to even hear us go like, oh yeah, like I, spent some time and I thought about it and then I discovered my purpose. It really wasn't easy for either of us. It's a journey for everyone, but that moment where you've recognized the flame that is ignited in you in the morning to do whatever it is that you're set out to do, when you discover that and you actually execute it, it ends up being internal anyway, because there's something amazing about your purpose being external, and it's a pay it forward, but in making payments you actually you're making investments for yourself as well, and it does fill you up to be able to continue executing your purpose. And so it's not like you're executing your purpose and you become more and more depleted as you give and give and give, but there's a return in getting more of that gasoline to get you to do it again the next day.
Right.
Because you're not so focused on just yourself. You have to focus on yourself, I guess, to do your purpose, because you want to be your healthiest and best self. So your purpose comes out in its healthiest and best self. But the execution piece of your purpose comes back to you as like as a return or an investment to continue your purpose each day.
Right. Well said. Yeah. I couldn't have said it better than that. Good stuff.
Yeah. So, for you, that would be my, I don't know if it was advice, but like my advice to, have patience in the journey of discovering your purpose, and to not be so frustrated. I don't think it's an age thing. I think people start getting antsy because they attach it with like your career, your job, what degree you're going to get in school, and if you haven't figured all that out, you don't have a purpose, or you're behind in figuring out your purpose. I don't think it's a timing thing. I think it's just a a, a journey of self-discovery that allows you to discover how that, whatever that makes you tick, will actually make the world a better place. So
Yes.
what would you advise people who maybe are in that season of, I don't know what my purpose is. I've been trying all the things to figure out my purpose. I feel stuck. I don't feel like I have a purpose. Or people who might be, you know, they know their purpose. They're now just trying to figure out, now how do I actually orchestrate this? Like how do I utilize the knowledge of my purpose? What would your advice be to
So,
people?
so for the people who are not sure what their purpose is, my advice would be to ask themselves, the question of what do they think they are here on Earth to do? And it's not something that you will have immediate answers to. And I would say to them, it's okay. Don't be frustrated because you're gonna feel frustration when you don't have the answer right away. Know that it's something that takes time, but start thinking about it. I don't know if it's kind of like this. This is the theory that I have in my head. You buy a blue car from the dealership, you buy a blue Honda, and you think, oh my goodness, this is the only blue Honda that is around, and I have it, and it's the best. And then you start driving it, and all of a sudden you see blue Hondas pop up everywhere, and you're like, maybe it's because now I noticed this and I put it in
Mm,
my head that I can see and be more aware of when blue Hondas do come up. So when you ask yourself, why do you think you are on Earth? What you're doing is you're basically buying that blue Honda,
mm,
and you're giving yourself time to acknowledge the other thoughts or the other blue Hondas that might come up in your head, because now you're more aware.
yeah.
Um, think about it. Like if you're purposely saying, "I have a question, I need to figure this out," you may be walking down the street and boom, you think you can answer like what you feel like you're on Earth for, or you can at least start listing. You might be like, "Oh man, I'm really good at this, and I really feel some type of way about doing this, but I'm also that what I'm good at might be my passion, but the principle that I exude in this activity, I also do it in this, and I do it in this, and I do it in this. Could it be that the thing that I do in all these, different activities, could that be my purpose?
Yeah.
Because it's in that really just renewed energy everywhere, every day, and I can see it in different parts of my life. That's the kind of thinking you want to have. So you want to definitely put some time aside to really think about what you think you're on Earth to do. And then for those who they are struggling, they think they know what they want to they're on Earth to do. They think they know what their purpose is, but they're really not sure. My answer to them would be, never be afraid to play around with the idea of your purpose. What do I mean by that? You don't know what you don't know. So if you feel like your purpose, for instance, is serving, but you're only attributing that to when you serve on Martin Luther King Day or when you serve on Thanksgiving to the homeless, you want to really play around with the idea. Like, are you in love with the seasonal purpose,
Mm,
or are you in love with the everyday purpose?
mm, yeah.
So, so you want to be able to really play around with the idea, and when I say play around, test it out. Like, okay, if you think your purpose is serving, then serve, but don't just serve once in a while.
Right.
Serve more of the time.
Right.
And if you believe that this is something that this quality trait, this characteristic, this is something that I see in different aspects of my life, and I feel like this is what I can contribute. This is my external experience. This is my
Mm,
outward a layer for generations to come. It could be your purpose. So For to wrap it up, I would say I would challenge people to think about what their purpose could be, and if they have ideas of what their purpose could be, test those ideas out, because you'll know what it is. It's like it's a feeling of just, oh man, when you figure it out, it's just like you wake. It's like an instant snap of the fingers.
Yes.
It's like
Oh,
I can't even tell you how it's just like you'll know. You'll
mm,
know. You'll
yeah.
just know
Yes.
this this is it.
Yes.
This is why I'm here. This
Yes.
is why I exist to do this. Because everyone has a different purpose. If
Mm-hmm.
everyone had the same purpose, this world would be very boring.
Yes.
And that's what makes it beautiful in human connection, with when someone's purpose might be service, someone's purpose might be leaving positive impact, someone's purpose might be building communities of strength, someone's purpose might be investing in financial investing for generations to come, someone's purpose might be, working to destroy barriers of, in racial relations, or bury establish justice in places that were did not have justice before. Everyone has a different purpose. And you can, in some sense, see how that purpose can connect to your careers.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, your purpose is just a vehicle,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, and it can lead you to the different destinations, in your life.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Test drive your purpose.
Test
Like
drive your purpose.
why not? Test
Test
drive
drive your
your
purpose.
purpose.
And then if you like the test drive, then you can buy the car.
Yep. Yep,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I love that. I
Test
love
drive your
that.
Paso. Yo,
Yeah,
your
yes.
first
There
your
you go.
first Paso. Test drive
There
it,
you
and then if
go.
you see that the Pasos you make are things that you can, that resounds with you and resides with you, take all the Pasos you need to get to the top,
Mm-hmm.
because that's your Paso. So you better just you get the most out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. Test drive your purpose.
Test drive your purpose.
I
Yeah.
like that a
That
lot.
that's and that's okay. Like you're allowed to
Mm-hmm.
like just because you've discovered what your purpose is, that doesn't necessarily mean you know exactly how it's going to be channeled. So find
Exactly.
all the channels you can. Like keep testing out all the channels, take a drive, take it for a spin, and you'll come across it. You'll come across it eventually. If you're looking for it, you're going to come across it. Everyone comes across their purpose if they're seeking it honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, enjoy the test drives, guys. Like bust out that license and go for a spin and
Yeah.
enjoy the drive of discovering your purpose and enjoy the drive of testing out the purpose once you've
Yeah.
discovered it, because it really truly is it's a when you know
Yeah.
experience, right? There
Yeah.
is a difference between being passionate about something and having purpose in something. It is a new world when you discover that car and you're like, this is like the Ferrari of life. Like, I want to drive this every day. How many
Right.
times a day? What buttons are in this thing? Like, how does it? I want to make this work to its most efficient state. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
go. So yeah, enjoy that experience. And when you guys discover your purpose, or if you're in the process of test driving your purpose, I want to hear those stories. Like, I want people to let me know, let Michael know, like, let us know when you have, if you're in the process of going on these drives to find it, and
Mm-hmm.
what it feels like when you've discovered it and how you're channeling it. I mean,
Right.
those are stories I want to hear. Those are stories people need to hear, because it's going to allow someone else later to discover their purpose as well. So, man, Michael, thank you so much for spending this time with me. This is a good catch up and on a great topic of purpose
Yeah.
and discovering purpose. I really appreciate you sharing that first Basel
Yeah.
experience with me and my audience.
Thank you.
How can people reach you if they want to contact you on social media or email or whatever?
Yeah. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Michael H. Forde. So that's MichaelHforde. Typically on those platforms, there's like an option to message. So they can always message me on there. I'm on there daily for the most part. And I look forward to hearing what these test drives of purpose will be like, and these first passes will be like. So I encourage everybody to really take those first steps to finding out who you are and what your purpose is.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And thanks to everyone for listening to today's episode. If there are any topics that you want covered in the future, or any situations that you want discussed here, shoot me a DM or post them on Twitter, Facebook, IG, and tag me at either at First Paso, or if it's Instagram, it's at first_Paso. If you have a story to share about your journey figuring out your purpose, or channeling your purpose, running with your purpose, driving your purpose, let me know, let Michael know, shoot us messages, post it on our social media platforms. Let us know how that's going, how that's been, how you've been able to pay it forward for someone else. Those are stories that not only would inspire the two of us, but anyone else who needs to hear that. And I'll read some of those messages in future episodes as I get them. So I would love to hear from you guys. That would just be amazing. So I hope all of you guys take care and stay safe. And Michael, you as well, take care. Enjoy your DRPH program as we transition into the fall and figure out how we're all going to do this. But it'll be a great program. You'll love being at GW and doing all of that with them. And it's going to be good. Hopefully our paths cross in the public health sector when
Definitely.
we're out of all the schooling,
Yeah.
and maybe we can take our purposes and put them together somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. I
That'd
like
be
that.
cool. That'd be cool, man.
Like,
All right, well, you take
all right.
care, and thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.